Today we're looking at problem solving 11-7 in your packet, and it's called Meters and Kilometers, and it's page 141. So go ahead and get that out. And you just watched a little video on geysers that I thought was kind of neat. So I thought this page was kind of fun. If you've ever been to Yellowstone, you've probably seen geysers. So it says, geography. Geography is the study of the Earth's surface, or the study of maps also. Geysers are natural hot springs that erupt from time to time, shooting hot water and steam into the air, often to great heights. Here are a few of the world's most famous geysers. So we have Old Faithful, which is in Yellowstone, and the height of the steam can get up to 50 meters high. Then we have this Great Geyser, which is in Iceland, and its steam goes up to 70 meters high. Then we have Grand Geyser, which is also in the USA, and it goes up 70 meters. Then we have Steamboat, which is also in, I believe this is also in Yellowstone, and it's 90 meters high. And then we have Waimangu, which is in New Zealand, and it gets up to 450 meters high. So wow, that's really high. And one interesting thing I learned when I was reading about geysers myself is that when an earthquake happens, sometimes that can make geysers stronger because it kind of separates the earth more apart and more water can get up. And sometimes when an earthquake happens, it can actually clog up the hole somewhat, so the geyser is weaker. So geysers can become stronger or they can become weaker based on the shifting of the Earth's surface. Our first question says, do any of these geysers reach the height of a kilometer? Explain. So you can't just write yes or no. You need to explain. Well, remember, how many meters is a kilometer? You get out your flap book and look under the kilometer flap, and you'll see that there are this many meters in 1 kilometer. So you're going to answer this question. So you need to say yes or no. Okay, and then you need to answer the question. So it says 2. Hit how many times higher does Waimangu shoot its steam than Steamboat? Well, let's look at this for a second. So what this question is asking is they're saying, how many 90s, how many groups of 90 can we fit in 450? So let's start with 2 90s, and we're going to keep adding 90 up until we get to 450. So if I have, actually let's start with 3 90s. Okay? Let's add up those 3 90s, and we have 0 plus 0 plus 0, and 9 plus 9 plus 9. So 9 plus 9 is 18, and then 18 plus 9 is 27. So we have 3 90s, and we're at 270, so we're not to 450 yet. So let's add another 90. So let's say 270 plus 90. All right, let's add another 90. This is our 4th 90. So let's have 0 plus 0 is 0. 7 plus 9 is 16. And 1 plus 2 is 3. Okay, so 4 90s. So 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90 is 360. All right, are we to 450 yet? We're not. So let's try another 90. So this was our first 90, our second, our third, our fourth. Let's try our fifth 90. So let's take 360, because that's 4 90s, plus 90. And let's see, we have 0 plus 0 is 0. 6 plus 9 is 15. 3 plus 1 is 4. Okay, so now we're at 450. So how many 90s did we add up to get to 450? All right, how many 90s did we add up? And that's your answer right here. Okay, so, and to answer this in a complete sentence, we're going to say, why Mengu shoots its steam blank times higher than steamboat. So what goes in here is how many 90s did we add up to get to 450? Okay, how many 90s did we add up to get to 450? And that goes right here. All right, let's do a clue word. Let's do an easy one, hot. So write that down on your calendar or wherever you're putting those. And you know what? I got so excited about geysers that I forgot to put my name on this. So go ahead and put your name on it. And the date, it is the last day of April. All right, hit pause if you're needing some time to catch up. Number 3, imagine that a family traveled 3,200 kilometers in order to visit Yellowstone National Park. It took them 3 days to make the trip. At the end of the first day, they had covered 1,400 kilometers. How many more kilometers would they need to go in order to reach their destination? All right, well, I see some clue words in here that are going to tell us that we are subtracting. So let's see if you can find those and underline those. And if you picked how many more, you are correct. Right. So we have this family, and they traveled total 3,200 kilometers, and it took them 3 days. So let's pretend this is 3,000 right here, 200 kilometers, and it took them 3 days to get there. So let's say this would be like they're driving along, and this would be the end of, this would be day 1, and this would be day 2, and this would be day 3. Okay, so we know that at the end of day 1, they had gone how far? Okay, so at the end of day 1, they had gone 1,400 kilometers. How much further do they still need to go to get to Yellowstone. So what we're going to do is we need to take these two numbers and we need to subtract. Okay, so we have this whole thing is 3,200 or 3,200. We need to subtract this part right here so we know what this part is. So let's try it. Write it down with me. 3,200 subtract 1,400. Okay. Now we have 0 subtract 0, which is 0. We have another 0 subtract 0, which is 0. Now we have 2 subtract 4. Can we do that? No, we can't. So I need to go and get 1,000. So instead of having 3 thousands here, I'm now going to have 2. And then I'm going to add 10 to this number. So now I have 12. 12 subtract 4 is 8. I just bring down the comma. 2 subtract 1 is 1. So I have 1,800 kilometers that they still need to go before they get to Yellowstone. Or yes, before they get to Yellowstone. All right. And you don't need to do this one in a complete sentence. Okay. You just need to write the answer in. Okay. Now we're going to build on this answer we just got. It says, suppose that they decide to travel an equal distance on the second and third days of the journey. How many kilometers would they need to travel on each day? Okay, so we know that all three of these parts together, day 1 and day 2 and day 3, all add up to 3,200 kilometers. Then we found out, it's kind of like a bar model, okay? Then we found out that this first day, they went 1,400 kilometers, and then days 2 and 3 together totaled 1,800. So you need to figure out what half of 1,800 is. And I'm going to give you a clue. What is half of 1,800? Well, if I cover up the ones and the tens, I have the number 18. What is half of 18? So find the number that is half of 18. Write it right here. So half of 18. And then make sure that you put a 0, 0 back on. And that is your answer. Okay. So each day, all right, so each day, we're going to answer this in a complete sentence. Each day, they would need to travel blank kilometers. So there's your complete sentence. Right. So go ahead and finish that. Our last clue word, let's go with day. Right here, our last clue word. Thanks for working hard. You can put your scratch paper in with your work or staple it to this page. See you soon. Bye.